You're listening to Secret Sonics, a podcast exploring the creative side of music production. Hello and welcome back to Secret Sonics. I am your host, Ben Wallach. My guest today is Darrick Atwater. Darrick grew up in the greater DC area and started playing with keyboards when he was only 4 years old. He later picked up the drums at 13. After playing in bands all throughout middle and high school, Darrick went to Omega Studio School of Applied Recording Arts and Sciences in Rockville, Maryland, where he received nationally accredited certifications in 2007. After that, Darrick went on to the Art Institute of Washington and received a BA in audio production in 2011. He eventually made his way down to Atlanta, Georgia, where he started working at Tree Sound Studios. There, he began working with lots of well-known artists. These days, Darrick is freelancing and has recently been working with such artists as Iveen and Coastal Land Sharks. In addition to that, Darrick also makes sample packs and funny production videos, which you should definitely check out, and I will include links in the show notes. Secret Sonics alum Ben Didelot recommended I reach out to Darrick to join me on the podcast, and his stuff really sounds great, so it's an honor to have him on. Welcome to Secret Sonics, Darrick.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, for sure. So tell me a bit about how you got started with this whole music production situation.
Man, you just kind of went over it. Just started off when I was young, the keyboards, just messing around, and then, got into drums later on, was in bands all throughout high school and middle school, and then just got really interested in the engineering side of things. I was always interested in how do I capture this sound that me and my friends are just kind of sticking together here in this band. And they also pursued it for a certain time, and I just kind of kept going with it. They eventually fell off, and was just always, I don't know, very intrigued with sound capturing and how to manipulate it. I remember from a young age asking my dad, because he was the music guy. I get all my musical ability from him, like listening to songs in the car or something, and being able to pick out different instruments and like hear them in the mix, and ask my dad at the time like how they did certain effects.
Yeah,
like at a young age, and I'd since forgotten about that fact, and then just kind of thought back to it not long ago, and was like, oh yeah, no, it was already preordained for me.
Yeah,
I was gonna do something like this.
You had no choice.
Right.
Yeah, you were saying right before we started recording, like they plugged you in front of a keyboard, and that was it.
Yep, and that was kind of that keyboard. If you look it up, it's called the Casio Tone MT45, and it's a crappy little like off-white, yellowed by age kind of keyboard, and it is the reason I am in Atlanta and broke most of the time. Because this industry's this industry's real hard to earn a solid dollar in all the time.
Yeah,
you know how it goes.
It is a tough industry. Lots of. I find it's like famine and feast kind of stuff, It's just like you're either working your butt off or you're like, why is the phone not ringing?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yep. And you got to constantly stay up on your own influx of income and business. And yeah, it can be a lot. It's fun, but it can be both sides of that.
Totally. Do you still have that original keyboard that your parents plunked you in front of?
I don't have the original one. I wonder if they have it upstairs in the attic somewhere in Virginia. But I bought one online.
Nice.
I don't know how it happened, but I kind of came across the keyboard again, just weirdly, just searching something else online, and I saw a flash of it come up in like Google Pictures, and all of a sudden, it was like getting hit with a brick. Like wow. I saw the keyboard, and I had completely forgotten about it. And all of a sudden, that's all I cared about was finding it. Like for the next 2-3 days, it took me a minute to kind of like reacquaint myself with the memories. And then I just was obsessed, and it just looked on Reverb and all these sites until I found one that was in decent enough condition to work.
Nice.
And I got one, and I have it upstairs. If I thought to, I would.
Do you ever use it in productions?
Yeah, totally.
Amazing.
Totally.
Amazing.
And it's real goofy sounding, man.
Yeah.
Although it's bass, there's a bass patch in there that is not good, but layered with other basses, it adds this perfect second harmonic, third harmonic grittiness to like 808s and all this other stuff that when blended in there, it's just like a cool like my own little trick. I obviously didn't create it, but I found that it works so well in conjunction with a lot of stuff.
Have you popped that into any of those sample packs you mentioned?
I have not, and actually, I have yet to do an agent method, which is my producer alter ego.
Yeah.
I have yet to do like a agent method specific curated sound plugin, of which I've built a ton of Contact instruments and other random samples, but all the samples that I have on my website and all those are from those goofy videos. They're all so all those little sample packs are just small little things, but I want to make a much bigger one.
Nice.
Coming up here, but I don't have it for sale yet, but
we'll keep you posted.
Right, exactly.
Amazing. Was there a song or album that really opened your mind to the possibilities of what could be accomplished with production specifically?
Oh man, great question.
Like there's like that light bulb moment where you just, oh, this is what I need to do.
Right. I think they were all kind of, anything that I listened to had that effect on me to a certain degree. So I'll just say this. The first CDs that I ever bought with my own money was Green Day's Dookie and Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
Wow.
I bought those both at the same time on just opposite ends of the spectrum.
Nice.
Of that day and age. And even then, man, just listen to the drum sounds, listen to the guitar sounds of the Green Day album, and it's such a dated sound nowadays. But back when I got that, it was just so full. It was that wall of sound kind of thing, which they'd done plenty of times with other albums for eons before I experienced that Green Day album in its entirety. But yeah, totally.
I think that was an important record for a lot of people around our age. Like me and my brother-in-law, will constantly reference Dookie songs. It's just
absolutely,
it's part of the culture of
growing up in that age. Absolutely, man. It was before I got the CD, I used to call my friend Ryan on the phone because I was obsessed with Basket Case. That song, that was what got me into them, and I was obsessed with that song. And I didn't have a way to hear it because I didn't have a tape. I didn't have the CD of it or anything. And so I would call him on the phone and have him play it over the phone to me on a landline. And he eventually got real sick of that.
Yeah.
But,
we're spoiled these days with Spotify and YouTube.
Man, just listen whatever you want anytime. Yeah. Why would you call your friend to listen to a song anymore?
Yeah. I mean, it has its downsides, right? Like things are less precious, I think.
A little bit. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
It there's a bit of an ease of use, but some devaluing built into that.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. So tell me about what you're working on these days.
Man. So as I said, I guess in the bio thing, the Iveen project, it's the biggest thing we're working on right now. It is this really cool combination of electronics and acoustics. Harp. My fiance Ivory plays the harp, and
she and Iveen are one and the same.
Correct. Yes. That's the stage name we're going with, and it's just such a super flowy, kind of cool but groovy style. I guess I don't know really how to describe it. She is. She's Irish by descent and spent a lot of time in Ireland and all that kind of stuff. So we lean heavily on some of the kind of the more traditional Irish ideals in that music, but update and translate it and kind of add some modern electronics and trappiness and the other kinds of popular stuff that is nowadays. Kind of combine it with the feel of like Odessa or Flume, but with with just harp acoustics, and she plays tin whistle and all this kind of stuff. So that's a really big part of what I'm working on right now. Another project is Coastal Land Sharks, which is just a more classically defined EDM outfit with me and my producer friend Mel. It was her project, and she wanted me to join up and help her produce stuff, and we just kind of just started snowballing. And I don't know if you had a chance to listen to any of that stuff, but that's pretty much what I'm working on. I don't have anything for you, Iveen, to listen to at this point. None of it's released. We are there's those cover videos that I sent that are that's pretty much the closest to the sound of what it's going to be, but just with a little more original.
Those were live also, right? They had that that like live edge to
Right.
it.
Yeah, and looping and all that kind of stuff. She's got loop stations and does a lot of cool stuff like that.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, man. And anything else is just me working on productions of my own stuff and these, dumb little production videos and sound packs and all that. It's just that's the most current stuff.
Amazing. Are you doing a lot of remixes? I saw you have a bunch of remixes posted on your SoundCloud account.
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me of things that I've posted. Yes, I I have been on a remix binge recently. Haven't won anything, but they've mostly been competitions. And then also, commissioned work. I got a new remix coming out the top of next year from my buddy Maxwell Aiden, who's doing he's moving pretty fast through the Spotify plays and charts and Instagram followship. But I'm doing that remix for him, and nothing else contracted yet. If a contest comes up that I feel like doing just for the heck of it, I will. Win or lose, man, it's always fun to do because I end up learning something new about the production that I'm doing and take away a new technique, messing with the stems that I get from those projects.
Yeah.
To do. So, it's still a good time either way. Of course, everyone wants to win, but
Yeah. Do you have a philosophy about remixing, like when you approach a song?
Sometimes I just completely build around the vocal and just I don't even listen to the song, and I just get the stems. I find the vocal tracks. I put them in there. I time them to where I think I want them to be. Maybe pitch them if I feel in a certain key, and then just go to town and just kind of completely change the game. And other times I rely a lot on the stems and see how creative I can go with that. So it really just depends on what I'm kind of feeling at the time.
Nice.
It's just kind of I never, much like when I was playing drums live, there was very few things that I did consistently every time. Every time I played a certain song, it would differ a bit. And I think that kind of same thing applies to a lot of my production.
Yeah.
The same kind of concept.
You just got to feel it out a bit and see where it takes you.
Exactly.
Do you work with other artists or like working with singer-songwriters or, other kinds of artists that need production work?
Yeah, totally. And that's part of my freelance stuff. There's a few projects, quite a few, that I've done in the past, to keep the lights on and all that kind of stuff. And some of them come out really well. One of which is a dude named Dotson, Datsun. I should have sent you the link to that. He's a really, really super cool dude, and he deserves to be way more famous than he is. And I'm constantly telling him to just keep on his craft. But his album Sour Mix, I produced one of the songs on that, and then mastered the album for him. And it's just such a cool, like kind of almost R&B, soul, hip-hop-ish vibe, but with very simple production. It's just really, really groovy. He's a massively big voice and just a really cool talent. And I just enjoy his music extremely thoroughly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
So how do you usually get these productions started? Like, what's the first thing you do?
Sometimes it's a chord progression. Sometimes it's just figuring out some sort of drum beat and just throwing drums down. And I find a lot of the time, depending upon which instrument I start with, really sets the ship in that direction.
Yeah.
If I start a production with bass or something, it'll probably be real groovy or something like that. If started with chords, it may be a little more ballady. If it's drums, it's probably a little more groovy again, just because drums and bass just like to lock in together.
Yeah, sure.
And or sometimes just a vocal, and then it just really is just whatever. It just depends upon how the vocal speaks to me. Maybe I'll throw some reverb and some delay on it first, just to start feeling ethereal about whatever is being said. And depending upon a lot of how the person sings and what the lyrical content is depends upon what effects I put on their vocal if I start with the vocal first. Mm-hmm. And just kind of go in a certain direction. And a lot of other times people will come to me with stuff fully fleshed out. It's just a matter of, hey, let's make this more professional. Hey, let's update this